Hey, this is Wileen Benson, and you are on the Daily Gratitude Call, where we start every day in gratitude. Gratitude is the highest energy state that we can be in. It creates a frequency of positive vibration that attracts positive experiences into our lives. Hey, everybody, this is Wileen Benson. This is our Daily Gratitude Call. I want to thank everybody for being on the call live. We have lots of people on today, which is awesome. Excited for what we get to learn today. And also those of you who are listening on the podcast, I'm super excited to welcome you. If this is your first time joining, I just want to encourage you to grab some paper and a pen, maybe even a little spiral notebook that becomes your gratitude journal, and take notes in that. Be here every day, listen every day, and see what you get to learn. It's kind of fun to have a gratitude journal. I have a GPS planner on my website that is awesome if you're doing the full daily GPS. And there's a bunch of blank pages in the back that you can use to record your thoughts during the gratitude call. It's super, super powerful to have something to go back and look at the progress that you're making. The gratitude call, I've noticed, and a lot of other people have mentioned this too, that it's incremental learning. Like if today's Tuesday, so if you were here yesterday, it seems like the whole week, one thing builds on another. And I know this week is not going to be any different. I know that, this is completely inspired. Everything that we create on this daily gratitude call, nothing is pre-planned. We get on and it's just based on what everybody shares. Before we start the recording, we have 3 rounds of gratitude to kind of get us warmed up. And then once we get started and we choose a subject, everything just kind of builds from there. So if you want to have just a powerful, powerful place to start your day, and also to have incremental learning throughout the week, there's no better place than to be right here on this daily gratitude call. So thank you and welcome, and just want to celebrate you for being here. Appreciate you taking the time, giving yourself the time to be here, 7 a.m. Mountain Time every morning, or if it's inconvenient to be here on that time, we have the podcast that you can join us and participate fully. Grab your gratitude journal and learn right along with us. For today, we had several people that shared something about warmth. We're in February where there's still lots of cold days, but in most areas of the country or in the world, I should say, because I know we have somebody that listens in Canada. We also have somebody that joins us occasionally from Germany, and who knows, what other countries are listening to the podcast. But for here in North America, seasonal warmth is rare in January and February. So we are experiencing a little bit of warmth here in Utah, and it's wonderful. So I want to just have us focus. There's a lot of analogies, I think, that can be drawn upon with the seasons and the law of the harvest, all these things that Heavenly Father set up for us when He created the earth. And there's a lot that we can learn from seasonal change. And so that's what I'd like to focus on today, is gratitude for seasonal change. And we'll just see what comes up, what we learned from that. So I'm going to set the timer for 90 seconds. We're going to have a private silent meditation on gratitude for seasonal change, and remembering that, it doesn't necessarily have to be about the weather. Just be open to whatever God has for you today, what personal inspiration you're going to receive. Just write that down, and then after our 90 seconds, we'll share. So 90 seconds, gratitude for seasonal change, private meditation, just writing down whatever comes to you. Begin. All right. Um, I am really thankful for unseasonal change. I enjoy this warmth that we've been having. I mean, when I talk about warmth, it's like maybe 45 to 50 degrees. I mean, 50 is probably the highest. So it's not like super warm, but, a lot warmer than it has been. And I'm really grateful for unseasonal change. And when I thought about unseasonal change, I also kind of went to, I wouldn't want it to be too long of a time, of being too warm, because then like the plants would start coming up out of the ground thinking, oh, it's spring, it's time to come up. And then we might have another snow still before April or so, or May even. We might have several different snows and, possibly could kill the plants. We've had unseasonal change before where, the apricot trees start sprouting or blossoming, and then it freezes again and all the blossoms don't get, whatever happens, fertilizer or whatever, to produce the fruit, or the fruit freezes and it just drops off. And so unseasonal change is nice. It's a nice change. But we definitely want to, I definitely want the regular, consistent, predictable, seasons to remain, because that is the way that God set it up for us to have infinite abundance. And that kind of led me to thinking about comfort zones, that when we step outside of our comfort zones, we're actually, breaking a pattern. We're creating unseasonal change within ourselves. But the good part about stepping outside of a comfort zone is we're stepping into better alignment. We're stepping into being more like the abundant way that God set up this earth. I was an addiction coach for a while, and I worked with Utah County Jail. And I remember I had a guest speaker come one time, and he was sharing about when he was like at rock bottom. I mean, he lived in an abusive home. His parents, everybody in his house were addicts. And it was just, a super negative, toxic environment that he lived in. And he had a friend who was, their family went to church, they ate dinner together, they talked nicely to each other. They didn't, use profanity whenever they said a sentence. And he was spending time at his friend's house, and they invited him to dinner. And he said it was the most uncomfortable thing to be sitting at dinner, and everybody was just like talking nicely to each other and asking about each other's day, and sharing really positive things. And he said that his heart was just pounding, his palms were sweating. He said he was just feeling like this fight or flight mode, like, I got to get out of here, I got to get out of here, I can't stand this, because it was so uncomfortable, because it was so different than what he was used to. But gratefully, he was able to eventually realize that that is actually, more nice. It's more happy. It's more, it's something that I want to pattern my life after. And, now he's married, he has 6 kids, he owns a couple of businesses. He's gotten out of that situation. And now the life that he has now is way more comfortable. So anyway, those are my thoughts, a little bit scattered, but just all about that. Unseasonal change is a really good thing. Kind of breaking out of patterns is a good thing. And then getting back into like a flow that is more in alignment with God's abundance plan. Who else has something they'd like to share?
I'd like to share.
All right. Thanks, Phil.
As I thought about this, I kept thinking of the renewing process, and like sometimes in my life when it's winter time, I mean, everything points to a renewing process. The sun goes, I mean, the earth turns and the sun comes up again, and spring comes again. I thought of the stress that a tree goes through when it basically gives off every form of life in order to survive the cold. And and yet it grows during that time. It grows and produces the maple tree produces sap during that time. And there's just always hope. There's always a renewing process for everything, and we're all part of that. So it just gives me hope. So, anyway.
I love that idea. Thank you for that analogy of the tree. That, really, when you look at a tree in the wintertime, the trees have shed all of their leaves, all of their green, all of their blossoms, all their fruit, everything is gone. And for all, people to view from the outside, it looks like it's dead. But there definitely is stuff going on inside. And it's, that's such a great analogy, because when we are leveling up, when we're changing, when we're renewing, we do have to kind of go inside. It's like, I don't have time to be showy. I don't have time to be producing fruit, for other people. I've got to really focus on myself and regenerate, renew, store up energy, learn whatever needs to happen before I can come back out, and produce fruit again on a different level. Thank you. Appreciate those thoughts. Who else has something they'd like to share today?
This is good, Gary.
Okay. Thanks, Gary.
I went to a yoga class 2 days ago, and the teacher said something very interesting. It says sometimes our body is built to deal with a lot of pain and stress, right? It can deal with a lot, but sometimes we have to sit down and listen to our body, and not ignore the pain, and listen for pain or what the body's trying to tell you. So I found that incredibly interesting. Listen to your body. Don't ignore it because you got this thing to do, this thing to do. When your body says something, listen to it. So I thought that was powerful.
Yeah, thank you. I love yoga. And that's one of the things that I've noticed in yoga is something that I might have perceived as pain. If you, kind of breathe into it, just allow that feeling to be there, then it turns into something different than pain. And so this kind of that seasonal change, it really fits, because just like Phil was saying, in the wintertime, it looks like painful. In the summertime, it looks like, oh, this is all nice and happy. But it's just a different feeling. It's just a different way to be. Thank you. Who else?
I'd like to share.
Thanks, Melissa.
I was just thinking about this season of my life, and that it's just a season for growth and learning. And I know that I learn in every season of life, but this season, I feel like I have so much love and compassion. My 7-year-old son just got diagnosed with ADHD, and it's been so amazing to understand him and the way his brain works, and just give him all the support and love that he needs to flourish with. We call it his superpower. And it's just been really amazing how I've been able to connect with him. And originally I kind of thought of it as a negative thing, something that was hard or bad, but I'm seeing that it's just him and who he is, and accepting him. And it's just been really amazing to feel the love and compassion for how God made him.
Wow. Awesome. Thank you. So powerful. Because, our lives are constant change, aren't they? And if we can kind of compare that to like the seasons, they're all good. We could definitely assign a label of bad to one of the seasons, but then, we're not as happy during that time if we think that it's a bad. So that's really great to call that a superpower, and to see that as just an opportunity to support and love, and, for you to build your compassion. Thank you. Who else?
Real quick, I was just going to say that that's one of the things I thought of, is that I love the seasons. I love the seasonal change. I wish we had more, even like they were all, 3 months of this, 3 months of that, they were just spread out evenly.
Uh-huh.
And that would be really nice. But then then my thought went to, the fall and the spring, and we fall back at times and we spring forward at times. And that's just what I thought of and I wanted to share.
Awesome. Thank you. I also think that there is some fun with the surprise. When you have what we used to call Indian summer, where the fall where the summer kind of continues through the fall, and it doesn't snow until like November or whatever, and you have such warm days through the fall. I love that. But it's just a surprise. We don't really know when's going to be the last snow. When are we going to have, when are those crocuses going to pop their heads out of the ground? And so it's kind of exciting that it's not as predictable as we would think, but it's nice to have it be, somewhat predictable. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any last shares before we shift over to our permission process?
I'll share real quick, Eileen.
Okay.
So,
Tammy and then Michael.
when you were talking about unseasonal change and breaking out of patterns and then getting back into a flow, I was just thinking about how as we seek to consistently on a daily basis align with God, he can do much more to prepare us for whatever changes are coming. Whereas when we don't seek daily alignment with him, we're not able to receive what he's trying to give us to help us. And so then when those changes come, that's, I feel like, when we're completely shocked and surprised and like, I didn't even see this coming. What is happening? And I feel like that's when we get into a point where, we're just completely anxiety ridden and stressed and overwhelmed because we didn't choose to be consistent with aligning with him.
Wow. Thank you so much. Oh, so true. So powerful. And the thought that came to me is if we are, seeking to align with him every day, doing our daily GPS, living in gratitude, those kinds of things, then when those challenges come, when those changes come, we can thank God for the preparation that we've had. But how many times, if we're not prepared, if we haven't been connecting with God, if we can't see his hand, and that's what, when I was sharing at the very beginning about having a spiral notebook or, the daily GPS journal or something, to go back and see how we've been prepared, then, we might blame God. It's like, how could you let this happen to me? Well, if you'd asked, I would have helped you. So that could be totally the difference between thanking God and blaming God. Thank you. Michael.
Hi, this sounds better?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I was thinking of a seasonal change. It's something that we almost plan for. And so I was thinking about getting out of the norm or getting out of our comfort zone. So for some people to change what they're doing and where they are, they turn to books. And a book can send us anywhere around the world. Or, YouTube, audios, it changes our lives as we listen to other people and our thoughts. And so even other people coming into our life, that just small change of they bring culture, they bring customs and thoughts and ideas from different places. So seasonal changes can be very refreshing and take us away from the norm, the everyday norm, what we do.
I love that. So true. And it kind of could even make us more comfortable with change if we're open to other people, other ideas, like you say, even on YouTube, just to search something up and say, wow, this is just another way to look at this. And it just makes change a little bit more comfortable and exciting. Thank you. Well, I know we have a lot of other shares that could happen, but we need to shift over to our permission process. So just going to invite you to, if you have other things that you'd like to share, to go to our Facebook group, Breakthrough with Gratitude. We'd love to hear any other thoughts that you have about seasonal change. This has been a really fun discussion, opened up some new ideas and thoughts, and been a perfect preparation for us to go into our permission process to ask for some new information and to make some changes. So go ahead and take a deep breath. And I just invite you to be aware right now within your life. Maybe you are experiencing a seasonal change right now. Like Melissa was sharing, a new diagnosis. Could be anything, just something different that's presenting itself in your life. Or maybe you have been stuck in your comfort zone long enough and you're realizing that it's time for a change. So just being aware of wherever that change is happening. And the first question I have for you is, what is the limiting belief that you have coming up for you right now about that area of your life, about that area of change in your life? What is your limiting belief? And as you're getting more clear with what that limiting belief is, just know that every limiting belief comes with some sort of a cost, some sort of a result. The law of attraction brings us exactly what we focus on. And so if you focus on this limiting belief, even if it's just subconscious, what is that limiting belief going to bring you? What is the cost of having that limiting belief? And now that you know what the cost is of that limiting belief, you have a choice. You can keep that limiting belief, and you know what the cost is. It's predictable, just like the seasons. It's going to continue to bring you the same thing. Or you can choose to give yourself permission to move on to a different season. So if you're ready to give yourself permission to move on, say yes.
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 Awesome. Awesome. So then choose some new beliefs. What are some new beliefs that are going to allow you to let go of that limiting belief and will produce a completely different outcome? Just as planting a seed and the sunshine from spring makes the change, creates the change of splitting that seed open and allowing it to grow up above the ground surface, just as that change happens when winter ends and spring begins, this new belief is going to empower you to create something new than what you've been able to create in the past with this old limiting belief. So what are some new beliefs that are going to empower you and allow you to create something different? Something that you choose, something that you would rather create. Let's get 2 or 3 of those new beliefs. And then once you have those 2 or 3 new beliefs, I invite you to again envision this area of your life where seasonal change is either happening without you really being aware of it, or choosing it specifically, or maybe a change that you are choosing specifically. So whatever that change is that is happening, or you're choosing for it to happen in your life, focus on that, and then bring these new beliefs into the space and see, will these new beliefs empower me? Will they feed my ability to make that change, or will they hinder it? And whatever changes you need to make in those new beliefs to make sure that they are going to feed that change, really help you, empower you, make it easy. It can be easy. So upgrade those new beliefs if you need to, and then bring those new beliefs into, maybe even see yourself as this fertile piece of land that you bring these new beliefs in to nurture the seeds of change and warm it with the sunlight of the light of, Christ's light, the light and warmth of inspiration, and the nutrients, whatever you need. Just see these new beliefs as adding all of those nutrients, all of the resources, everything that this seed of change needs to sprout, to flourish, to grow, to thrive, and to produce fruit. And now that you have all of the resources that you need for this change to happen, and to happen in a positive way, easily, being confident in that, what is the one most important thing that you can do today to really just start the process of this change happening? What is the one most important thing? What's your inspired shortcut to this change being easy, having it produce fruit, thriving, constant, predictable, and that it becomes literally part of you? What's your inspired shortcut? Number one most important thing to do today for this to be a reality in your life, for this change to be complete? And we are getting close to the end of our time. Might have time for one share. I do want to just invite anyone who is struggling with this at all, or if you're just feeling like, wow, I'm stepping into this new change in my life and it just feels super overwhelming, I don't know if I can do it alone, I invite you to have a conversation with me. Just a 15-minute call. It's free, and all you have to do is just go to askwylene.com, and it'll go right to my calendar, and you can schedule a 15-minute call, and we'll have a little conversation, and I know in that 15 minutes that we will be able to solve whatever issue it is that is producing that fear, or whatever it is that's holding you back from just fully embracing this change. Who has something that they would like to share about their experience today?
I would.
All right, thanks, Mary.
I just need to thank you. My limiting belief is I won't make it through, and that has caused my body to be uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
My new beliefs are I'm comfortable with change. I am transforming into my best self.
Mm-hmm.
I am realizing my dreams. I am empowered in God's love and purpose for me. I am relaxed and empowered by faith, and I am empowered by the sun.
Wow. Super powerful. Thank you, Mary. I really appreciate you sharing all of your new beliefs. And I encourage all of the rest of you to go to our Facebook group, Breakthrough with Gratitude. Love to hear what your new beliefs are. And, anytime that you have a celebration moment of where, you feel yourself leveling up, when you have made that change and you're just wanting to celebrate, our Breakthrough with Gratitude Facebook group is an awesome place to go to do that. So thank you all for being on the call today. I wish we could continue talking, but we do need to move on. And I encourage you to take action on your inspired shortcut. Have a wonderful day. And we will look forward to seeing you, talking to you again tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Mountain Time, right here on our Daily Gratitude Call. Thank you.
Thanks, Wendy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, thanks so much for listening. And I encourage you to tune in every day to the Daily Gratitude Call. And the Daily Gratitude Call happens live every weekday morning. I'd love to have you join. So to find out how to join live, go to my website, wylenebenson.com. Thanks for tuning in.